Peter Alexander.
Mr. President, thank you. You came into office on a message of competence and unity. We've witnessed what's happened in the country over the course of the last several months. We've seen the chaotic troop withdrawal from Afghanistan, the threat of a government shutdown right now, and Democrats, members of your own party, are still divided over your agenda going forward. So what do you say to Americans who say that you have not delivered on that promise?
Remember, I said it's going to take me a year to deliver everything I'm looking at here. That's number one. Number two, take a look at what I inherited when I came into office. The state of affairs and where we were. We had 4 million people vaccinated. We had no plan. I could go down the list. So, part of it is dealing with the panoply of things that were landed on my plate. I'm not complaining. It's just a reality. It's reality, number one. Number two, I think the part of what has to happen here as well, for example, let's talk about my economic plan. The economic plan, you all are always, and understandably, legitimately, citing polls. Every element of my economic plan is overwhelmingly popular. Overwhelmingly popular. But the problem is, with everything happening, not everybody knows what's in that plan. For example, all those women out there who are not able to go back to work because they have a dependent grandparent or a parent, or they have a dependent child who needs help, or they can't find daycare, or they can't find, look at what's happening. Well, there's a solution. There's a solution in the proposal that I put forward, and the plans we're now debating in the United States among ourselves, and they're debating in Congress, is the plan, the essence of the plan that I laid out in the beginning. And so I'm confident that at the end of the day, we're going to be able to get that done. The second point I'd like to make, we talk about price tags. It is zero price tag on the debt. We're going to pay for everything we spend. So it's not, people, understandably, well, it started off at 6 trillion, now it's 3.5 trillion, now is it going to be 2.9? It's going to be zero, because in that plan that I put forward, and I said from the outset, I said, I'm running to change the dynamic of how the economy grows. I'm tired of trickle down. The trillionaires and billionaires are doing very, very well. You all know it, you've all reported it. And in the middle of this crisis, but hardworking people and middle-class people are getting hurt. And so I provide for example, a tax cut. If you have a child, you get a refundable tax credit. It's reduced hunger in America by 40%, literally for children. You have the whole notion of being able to provide for daycare for your children, getting people back to school, et cetera. It's all paid for. It's all paid for. But a lot of these are flat tax cuts that exist within my proposal. And they're being calculated as if the cost of the child care tax credit is a cost to the government. It's not. It's reducing taxes, not increasing taxes. Now, part of the problem is I had hoped, I hadn't planned on, although I kind of anticipated it might happen, I hadn't planned on the 178-mile top winds, hurricanes going to Louisiana, and 20 inches of rain in New York and New Jersey, and an area as big as the state of New Jersey burning down in the west. And so what I had hoped I would be doing, I'd do what I did in the campaign. I'd be out making the case about what my plan contained. And it's been very much curtailed by a whole range of things. And so I think that it's understandable. I think it's understandable, people being frustrated. I think they're frustrated as well by the fact that not just members of Congress, Democrats and Republicans, frustrated by, I thought this was going to be better. I thought everything was working out. We were moving along on COVID-19, and now we have all these people who refuse to get a shot. And now look at the people dying, large numbers of people dying. So I think it's a totally obviously it's a legitimate question you've asked, but I think putting it in context here, it's going to take some time here. And I know I always kid you when you all ask me about, well, what about, are you going to get A done, B done, C done? Well, I say, you want to negotiate. I'm being a bit facetious, obviously, but here's the deal. This is going to end up, I believe, we're going to end up getting both the pieces of my economic legislation. The first piece, the 1.9, fundamentally changed the structure and the nature of the economy in this country. Even though, remember, it got clobbered. It was this terrible thing, no Republican voted for it. Well, we got real economic growth. Now we're at this stalemate at the moment, and we're going to have to get these two pieces of legislation passed. Both need to be passed, and they'll have a profound impact, according to not Joe Biden, but according to Wall Street, according to the IMF, according to international organizations. And then there's, I'm going to be having a meeting today with the Quad, with the leader of India, Japan, and Australia, and we're going to be talking about Afghanistan, which is a legitimate thing for people to talk about. But the truth of the matter is, the end of the day is, we were spending $300 million a day for 20 years. There was no easy way to end that. And we're now still getting people out, but it's really, there's no picture book way to say, okay, the war's ended, let's get everybody out and we'll go home. No war's ever ended that way, other than there's been a surrender and it's a totally different circumstance. So anyway, there's a lot, I'm sure, along the line that there are things I could have done better, but I make no apologies for my proposals, how I'm proceeding, and why I think by the end of the year we're going to be in a very different place.